Hear me, Zon. Your headsman's voice speaking. What's this? You whisper impulsive with a confused look on your face. Another League of Legends channel? Another pro streamer grinding ranked games for the masses' amusement. Another lore buff sifting through any pieces of Riot Games media. I'll speak before you now to say, but I am none of these things, but neither am I something greater. I am merely a poor soul who got dragged by the chains of friendship into competitive PvP game and who wasted his precious time stuck in low to mid ranks with no apparent goal in sight, and the only thing which keeps him playing is his dedication to the dreadnought. Clutch flips.
Shotgun knees.
Chains. I regret my time wasted on LOL, but I don't regret my time spent with him. Perhaps those of you listening share my fate. Perhaps you do not. If you have no clue what either League of Legends or Riot Games mean, good. Preserve your innocence. Keep it safe. But do not turn away yet. For from now on, I will mostly speak about its child and its parentage to sit. Child. Arcane. A sweet and short series which delves deeply into concepts of family and friendship with a healthy dose of violence, all portrayed through revolutionary animation. Released to an overwhelming positive reception and critical acclaim, it is on its way to its second and last season. So going forward, I will assume that you have already watched the first season of the show in its entirety. If you have not, what are you still doing here? Go and immediately watch it, and afterwards, come right back here. I personally enjoyed it, watching alongside my friend who was the one who introduced me to the world of Runeterra. Love, hate you for that, Max. First half was phenomenal, and second half was thrilling. Perhaps my only gripe is the way the Zone is portrayed. You see, looking at Zone champions, reading their bios and various short stories, I imagine Zone as, well, Everhammer Gotham on steroids. Take him to Zone. No! Not to Zone! Please! Anything but that! Please, no! But in the show, it's just slums, and then slums, but with neon lights. Not quite a hellhole with monsters roaming throughout its corners, I expected. But that still could be a subject to change. With Season 3 coming out tomorrow, every Arcane fan is waiting for resolution to Powder's arc, and every League fan is waiting for Warwick's reveal. But I have my sights for another. In fact, there have been rumors of Urgot sightings in the first season as well, and you can imagine my anticipation for his appearance. And then I saw Urgot. I'll just let him speak for me.
You disappoint me.
So, apparently every Zaunid who's bald, pale-skinned, and covered in tattoos is Urgot.
What kind of fool do you take me for? He's
Urgot.
yours.
Urgot.
I'm
On the case.
Are there any other Squidwards I should know about?
How about a drink?
I'm out of here.
Let's just get the first and obvious reason why this is not Urgot out of the way. In short story, Child of Zorn, we see how the first meeting between Y and Urgot occurred. During that meeting, neither of them recognized each other, and there was no hint towards any kind of history between the two. Y was actually genuinely terrified of Urgot, and according to you all, she was afraid of the guy whose jaw she broke not once, but twice, and later went on to break it for the third time. And the first time she have done it, she was a zogging teen. I have even seen people claim that that's why Urgot is wearing a mask, because why broke his jaw? But that's not why Urgot's wearing a mask. Let me explain why he's wearing it.
If I pull that off, will you die?
It would be extremely painful
You're a big guy.
for you.
In Zorn's atmosphere, or at least something closest to it, there is a certain substance called Zorn Grey. This is essentially a China smoke on Shima, and Urgot uses as a filter, as our word for respirator, or a breather, to pump this substance directly into his throat. Don't you believe me? Here are some excerpts from Urgot's bio and Childs of Zorn. Seizing control of the prison, Urgot reveled in new trials of survival. He found the parts of his body that were weakest and replaced them with scavenged machinery, technology created by those who would die without it, necessity being the mother of pain.
A sick feeling creeps up my spine. Urgot gestures to the medical tubing linking his mechanical body to the mask covering his mouth and nose, and holds up the canister. It's covered with warning sigils. Toxic. Poison.
What lies within this metal shell is the very air I have come to breathe. I took it in and conquered it, for true liberation comes from within. That is the message we will take to our enemies, our would-be oppressors. The second reason is a little less obvious. Urgot is a Zorn champion, but he isn't himself from Zorn. He's from Noxus, the same country Ambessa is from. But you may ask, what if Urgot already got to Zorn from Noxus and now works for Silico? And that's where the third reason comes into play. Urgot has never worked for anyone in Zorn. In fact, once he arrived to Zorn, the next thing happening to him was getting swarmed by Camp Baron forces and imprisoned by them in the Chemtech mines. The dredge, Camp Baron was territory.
Zorn welcomed me with open arms and a knife to my back.
He didn't stay imprisoned there for long. Eventually he took over the mines and later organized a massive prison break, and now roams the street of Zorn, murdering any unfortunate soul standing in his way and personally hunting down any Camp Baron all the while becoming an idea behind a new, almost religious ideology of Zorn.
The weak are condemned. Tear their weakness away, and nothing is left. Life favors the strong. You cannot know strength until you are broken. Strength comes from suffering. Only those who survive this city deserve it. Zorn will be redeemed in the flames. Few will endure the chaos to come. Where will they run when the whole city burns? Think how much stronger they'll be if they live. Noxus is lost. Piltover is a parasite. Without Zorn, you are nothing. We will rise from the rubble, stronger than before.
The weak will be burned. The strongest will fly, free to live as they see fit. They'll make America
Make Zorn
great
great again.
So, what do you think?
Impress him. You respect strength. Good. Then you understand.
But you may ask again, what if Arcane completely retconned Urgot bio, and now this random guy is Urgot? Well, if that's the case, there's no point guessing anymore, right? Anyone can be anyone. Twitch can be human, and so on, and so forth. Now with all that out of the way, where is Urgot? Is he even in the show? Maybe he's still in Noxus, or maybe he's already in the drench. Well, I have a reason to believe what he has already left Noxus, but wasn't yet imprisoned in the drench. After all, we have Noxians arriving to Moldova in the show. And there is one particular axe-wielding Noxian. Urgot always believed he was worthy. As a headsman and executioner of the weak, he was a living embodiment of the Noxian ideal. A strength should rule, making it a reality with every swing of his axe. Who besides Ambessa is the only Noxian with the face. And as we know from the classical rules of storytelling, faceless mooks wear helmets as a way to dehumanize them, so you, as a viewer, wouldn't care much about them. Which means that the creators of the show intended for this axe-wielding bodyguard to be someone important, someone who will be a center of a major plot reveal for the long-time Runeterra fans. Unfortunately, I do not have any concrete proof that this is actually Urgot. Beside the axe, which is a common Noxus weaponry, I can only point out what the timeline loosely fits. Ambessa mentions that her son...
You crossed the wrong man.
A lot of people believe, and I am one of them, but this wrong man is Jericho Swain, the Noxian Grand General and the ruler of Noxus in its current law of League of Legends. But since Arcane is essentially a prequel, it chose to adapt some champions' backstories to the screen. We have all reasons to believe that Swain haven't risen to power yet. His rise began after the failed Noxus invasion of Ionia, and there is a certain character who can hint that this invasion has happened already, Singed, who specifically had his look updated to coincide with the one from the game.
Just blood.
And who provided the Chemtech weaponry to Noxus in their war with Ionia. That also would explain why Ambessa was so obsessed with Hextech, seeing how Chemtech has already failed her empire. And since Swain's meticulous preparations took many years, as said so in his bio, he could have sent Urgot away before the coup itself, when the opportunity of Ambessa leaving the empire presented itself. This perhaps conflicts a little with the line from Urgot's bio about being sent to distant zone to eliminate a supposed conspiracy against the ruler of Noxus. But since ancient lore has already been slightly retconned in all areas concerning the Hex's deck, while everything else was left intact, like being a part of university, or at least implied to be his personal history of Heimerdinger, and being a mad scientist working for any highest beer in Zone, they could easily retcon Urgot's mission being the protection of Ambessa. Now, let's address a common counter-arguments. But isn't that Pantheon? Yes, if that guy is Urgot. But he looks nothing like Urgot! Working in the mines while some depraved and being exposed to dangerous chemicals, not to mention directly pump them into himself, can completely change how a person looks. What if it's some other Noxian champion? It can't be Darius, because Darius is Swain's right-hand man, and he would never leave him out of his view for long. As for anyone else, no other champion fits at the moment. What if he's in fact just some nobody? Well, but I believe creators just missed a great opportunity. It's very important to note that there has been some sightings of Urgot in Arcane. Well, not Urgot himself, but references to him. We have seen Urgot's tattoo master in Arcane, so this means that creators of the show are at least aware of him. There is also a drawing of a crab bite powder. Now, you see, this I can buy being Urgot. And now we're getting to the most important piece of this whole theory. Ambessa release in League of Legends has shed more light on Urgot's possible origin and his role in Arcane.
Requesting my audience? How bold! Others have lost their heads for less. Requesting my audience? How bold! Others have lost their heads for less.
And to be precise, it's her lack of interactions with him. She's the character connected to both Noxus and Piltover and Zorn, just like Urgot, and she doesn't even acknowledge him. Suspicious, or perhaps typical.
You took everything from me.
I don't even know who you are.
We'll just have wait and see. Personally, I don't expect for Urgot to play any massive role in Arcane Season 2. I'll be satisfied with a post-credit scene or him merely mentioned. Although it would be very interesting to see his relationship with Wanda's sisters and how his worldview mirrors that of Asilka. But alas, that's a story for another time perhaps, which also will probably never come, considering the popularity of Urgot. I thank you for listening to my message, son, and eventually you will thank yourself. For this message is a warning of things to come. I swear, if he doesn't actually end up being Urgot, I'll actually go ahead and stream some ranked Urgot games on League of Legends. Promise!